Well, extortion related incidents continue to shake communities in the lower mainland. Some of the most recent violence has taken place in Abbotsford, and that includes a shooting during the early hours of yesterday morning where bullets were fired at two vehicles in a residential driveway. Now, CBC's Fraser Valley Bureau has been reporting on the situation, and they've been speaking with one victim of extortion in that area. Kier Junos is with our Abbotsford Bureau and joins us now with more. Good morning to you, Kier.
Morning, Stephen. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for being with us. Let's begin with the most recent shooting, which was early in the early hours yesterday morning. What can you tell us about what happened?
Well, this most recent shooting was on Tuesday in the very early morning, around 4 a.m. in a residential area just off of South Fraser Way in the west side of town. Like you said, bullets fired at two vehicles in a home driveway, and the police say that the residents were asleep, and fortunately, they were unharmed. Now, it's been increasingly challenging for us to report on victims of these attacks and specifically about accounts of what they've been going through, because you can imagine when guns and bullets are involved, it causes a lot of fear. The victims are often from the South Asian community, and Abbotsford has lots of folks from this community, and even people that we're talking to on totally unrelated stories, are sharing their fear about this.
Well, right. And you've been speaking in detail with another victim of extortion, separate from yesterday's shooting. So, what have you been learning in those conversations?
Yeah, that's right, Stephen. We were able to connect with one victim who had his business recently shot at, and this person wanted to speak out about what happened and also provide a bit of a warning on how maybe the attacker's tactics have sort of changed in his experience. So, CBC, we've agreed not to share the name of this victim or their business because of for this person's safety, but we spoke to them at length in a room in their business. The shooting happened in an industrial area of Abbotsford early in the morning. And when I got there on scene, I counted 6 or 7 bullet holes in the front of the business. But at the time, when I asked the business owner, was this extortion? The owner of the business didn't know if it was extortion related.
I was surprised what happened, and an officer came to me and he said, "Someone gunfire shot in front of your building." I was thinking, well, what happened? Who can do this to me? I was thinking maybe I'm a misidentity or something like that. Then the officer came to me and he said, "Do you got any extortion call or anything like that?" I said, "No, I haven't never received any calls, stuff like that."
Hmm.
So the victim says that the extortion calls only came later that day, demanding $1 million or his life. So we haven't been able to review all of the calls that he's received, but just one recording of a subsequent phone call that he's received from the supposed extorter, and the Abbotsford police have confirmed that this case is extortion.
And this is interesting, Kier, because this is different from what we've heard. This is a demand for money that comes after the shooting actually occurred. Tell us why that's significant.
Well, we spoke with Abbotsford Police yesterday, and they suggested that this kind of thing has happened before, but it's certainly more uncommon. The victim in this situation, and at least one criminologist that we've spoken to, have suggested that this sort of signals a change in tactics by the attackers. Yes, typically the extortion threats come first through messages, WhatsApp, menacing phone calls, you name it, and then the demands for money. Those demands for money come with that, and here it's the violence first. So we have here's criminologist Wade Diesman from the University of the Fraser Valley on some of those differences.
I think that points to a larger pattern. We've seen that happen before. And it also suggests that the main goal is not extortion for gain, but creating a kind of atmosphere of fear and coercive control. And the reason I say that is that the normal kind of, approach to extortion is to begin by sending a message and then only use violence if it's necessary to do so.
So Diesman also said that this method poses a bit of a lower risk for attackers, right? So if they don't give any warning, well, then a potential victim can't warn the police that something might be about to happen to their home or their business, and police then can't be preemptive, right? So that poses a lower risk for the attackers when no one knows the risk is coming. On top of that, Diesman also says that The sum of money demanded, $1 million, is very high, very unrealistic. It's very difficult to move $1 million with, in a sort of low-key way. So Diesman suggests that the attackers know they can't get that money. On top of this, to go a little bigger, Diesman says that this extortion-driven violence narrative is maybe a bit worn out, maybe not entirely correct. Going beyond extortion for cash, like he was saying there, this is a transnational issue, and Diesman is sort of pointing to this rift between Canada and India. Since back in 2024, the RCMP put forward evidence, strong evidence that said the Indian government may be involved in some of this violence, and India, of course, has continually denied this.
And that is something that we certainly heard at our public forum last week, our town hall last week. How has all of this, though, been affecting the victim here, the owner of the business?
Well, as you can imagine, they're incredibly scared for their family, themselves, their workers, and their life. When we spoke with this victim, he sort of had a resigned expression about him. But despite all this, he's not paying up. He told the people giving him these calls that he's not paying up. Even if he had the money, he's not paying up because he mentioned to me that the overhead on his business is already very high. Now his business hours, he's decided to cut them in half, and that makes clearing that overhead even tougher.
Right.
And now this guy is considering selling the business and moving his family back to India, right? And that sucks to hear. That's maybe what this has come to, and that might be what he's deciding on. But he also spoke out because he wants to warn others about this apparent change of tactics: shoot first, demand money later.
Well, right. And when you look at the bigger picture here, what is law enforcement doing about this, about the shootings, about the ongoing violence?
Well, multiple police agencies and the province, of course, they continue to extol the provincial extortion task force that's led by the RCMP and has a bunch of police agencies within it. The Canadian Border Services Agency, they're investigating dozens of people, 78 foreign nationals who they say may be inadmissible to the country. 3 have been deported. This victim and others say that the immigration laws in this country need to be changed. And in terms of how many cases there have been generally this year, there have been around more than 125 extortion cases between Surrey, Delta, and Abbotsford since 2025. This year. Most of those have been in Surrey. About 30 of them have been in Abbey. And as for this case, with this victim that we spoke to, the Abbotsford police says they have no suspects arrested so far. And police say that, this is, they say the shoot first, demand later is more uncommon, but it certainly has happened before.
All right. Kier, really good to hear you this morning. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Stephen.
You take care. That's Kier Junos, a reporter with CBC's Fraser Valley Bureau.